Hey neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be showing you how to install the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver here on our 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe. With the Santa Fe being a crossover SUV, it does give you a little bit of extra room compared to a smaller sedan, but it is still pretty small, so there's not as much cargo space as you might need to haul all of your accessories, especially if you're going on a camping trip. Adding in a 2-inch by 2-inch trailer hitch receiver tube is going to give you that option and ability to haul that bike rack, haul that cargo carrier, get all that extra stuff that you need loaded up, and get it to your destination nice and safely. With this being a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube, that's going to give you the best bet for connecting to multiple accessories. The majority of accessories out on the market are typically going to be that 2-inch by 2-inch, but there are still some, especially bike racks, where it's going to be that 1 1/4. And in that case, you can still haul those around. You just need to get a reducer, which you can also pick up here at eTrailer. There's a couple of things that come to mind when it comes to a trailer hitch, and especially when we're going to be hauling things around, and one of those is ground clearance. So from the ground up to the top inner edge of our trailer hitch receiver, we're getting right at 13 1/4 inches. And what we typically want to see is at least 12 inches, so that way you know you have enough ground clearance to where you're not going to have your cargo carrier shank or your bike rack shank scraping against the ground when you start to go up an incline or down a decline. The other measurement that we're also going to be worried about here is going to be our clearance with our rear fascia. So from the center of our hitch pin hole back to the furthest point on our fascia, that's going to be right at roughly 4.5 inches. We'll say 5 inches just to be safe. So that's going to be the distance that we need to know for anything that's going to fold up. So those bike racks that fold up once you're done with them, the cargo carrier that folds up, you want to make sure that that's not going to come into contact or rub against your rear fascia. So the way to figure that out on your accessory is just measure from the hitch pin hole center on the shank of whatever accessory you have back to the closest point once that is folded up, and then you'll know if this is going to fit or not, or if you'll need to have some kind of extension. Now, if you do add an extension on here, just keep in mind that that's going to lower your capacity, and it's going to have a little bit more sag just because now we're placing that weight further out and it's leveraging it a lot more. So now you might see a little bit more sag with your vehicle, and that's where that ground height clearance is going to come into play again. So you might want to just kind of double check that as well. Make sure you're not overloading it, and make sure you're not going to scrape anything on the ground. This is going to have a 4,000 pound gross towing weight capacity, so that is the weight pulling against it. That's when you're hauling a trailer behind your vehicle. And then this is going to have a 600 pound tongue weight capacity, which is the downward force on the hitch itself. So that's when you're hauling around your bike racks, your cargo carriers, anything that's not on the ground, that it's sitting up in here. So just because this can tow 4,000 pounds doesn't mean your vehicle can, so you definitely want to go and double check your owner's manual and figure out what the vehicle's towing capacity is, and make sure that you stay within whichever is lower. So this trailer hitch is going to require a 5/8 pin and clip, and this is not going to be included with your trailer hitch, but is typically included with whatever accessory you have. I'd recommend picking up a locking one though, so that way any accessories you got on here, whether it's that bike rack, cargo carrier, or ball mount for a trailer, that you have it nice and secured, so that way no one's going to be taken off with any of your equipment. Now, if you are towing a trailer, you're going to also need to check out your safety chain loops, and I've got an S-hook style and a clevis style, just to kind of show you how it's going to fit. So the S-hook, no problem at all. These are pretty wide safety chain loops, so it gives you a lot of room to really work with here. And for the clevis, no problem at all. It's not really binding up if it swings back and forth, so we know we're good here. We're not going to have any issues. As far as trailer hitch receiver installations go, this one is definitely on the very easy side. This one only took me about 10-15 minutes to really put in. So this is something you could definitely do at home. You don't even really need to be on a lift. We just have it up on the lift so that way you guys get a better view with the camera. So like I said, you could do this at home, but if you just don't have the time to do so, please feel free to use our dealer locator, and you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you to get it professionally installed. If you do want to do this yourself, then stick around and I'll show you how to do it. Starting out our install, we're going to be removing our spare tire, which I've already done, and then we're going to take a cam buckle strap and we are going to put one hook on our coil spring on the passenger side and then one over on the driver's side. And what this is going to do is when we lower our exhaust, it's going to help support it, so that way we don't have all this weight of the exhaust hanging off and then potentially damaging the pipe here. Once we have that set up, we can then start removing our rubber isolators. So what I like to do is spray it with some silicone lubricant. And on this one, I'm going to go for the 2 right here, just because I've done a few of these and I know it's a little bit easier to get this side off versus that one. So we'll remove those 2 rubber isolators. I have an exhaust hanger removal tool, which is essentially just a flat piece with a portion to kind of stick in and press up on the head here. Now you could easily do this with a pry bar as well. There's little slots in each of these so that you can kind of pry into it, but this just makes it a whole lot easier. Get up here. All right, now there's one more isolator that's hidden behind the muffler here. And to get to this one, you gotta come back behind the muffler and then you can start prying it out. All right. Now with that loose, I've also sprayed a little bit of silicone lubricant into each of our weld nut holes. So there's 2 here, 2 here. And I am just going to clean that out. And we've also got 1 on the bottom. And I'm just using a little wire brush. Every now and then you'll get some road debris up in these, and then that can make it bind up when you try to put your hardware in. So once we have these cleaned out, the next thing I'm going to do is just run the hardware in and out, just to make sure that we don't have any issues when we go to put our hitch up. So this one's sticking a little bit more. I'm going to use my wrench and a 19mm socket, and we'll just run this back up and then right back out. Now with my muscle man assistant Brad here, we're going to lift our hitch up into place, and we're going to start to thread in our bolts. Now the bolts are also going to have a conical tooth washer. We're going to make sure that the teeth on that washer are facing towards the hitch, because it's going to bite into it and prevent it from backing out. So we'll just get a couple threads going on each one, and that'll help hold the hitch up, and then we can come back and fully tighten them down. Now that I have them all snug down, I am going to come back with my torque wrench and tighten them down to the specifications listed in the instructions. And you might need to pick up an extension as well for some of this, just to make it a little bit easier, especially on the exhaust side. I just used like a 12-inch extension here, and I was able to get it at a little bit of an angle for those side ones, just because we do have this bracket right in the way. And then for this one, just no extension, just because exhaust is fighting us here. Now that we're torqued down, all we need to do is reinstall our rubber isolators on our exhaust hanger, and then also reinstall our spare tire. Well, that's going to do it for our installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver here on our 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right trailer hitch setup for your Santa Fe, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.